one. Okay, here we go. What's up, everybody? My name is Danny, and thank you so much for joining the Light Psyde. Today, I am so excited to welcome Sabrina Savoy. I almost called you with love, Sabrina Savoy, because that's how I see your name. That's her Instagram name. She is a Reiki Master Teacher, author, intuitive light worker, and yoga and meditation facilitator. So I am all kinds of excited to bring her to you today. Hi, Sabrina.
Hello. Thank you for having me, Danny. It's
Oh,
nice to be here.
dude, it's so nice to have you here. And I have been watching your content for a while. I even have your journal right here on my desk. Yes, I love this thing so much. I show it to everybody. Oh yeah, she wrote a journal, everybody. Here it is. It's kind of like a really cool journal prompt. Like there's like, okay, this one says, I trust the flow of my life. And then you have a whole page to write about it. And so this has been super cool to me. So thank you for creating that. And
Thank you.
I actually do have a question about the journal. So like, what prompted the creation of
Mm,
this?
Okay, this is actually pretty fun. So I think it's almost going to be a year that the journal's been out. Yeah. Oh my God, it's May. I forgot what month we were in. Yeah, we're in the month of May. So yeah, last year at this time, I was like, okay, I just printed these books. Let's get it out there. It happened really fast. So last year, I was working on creating a book, and I wanted to write a book for forever, like for a really long time. Even when I was a kid, I'd be like, wow, I wonder what it'd be like to write a book. Um, so I was actually trying to write a children's book. I've been wanting to write a kid's book, and so I would get to my table and I'd start working, and I'm like, this is not a kid's book. What's happening here? So I started writing out affirmations, and I've been a fan of affirmations for a long time. Should I go into like the whole story, or just like um,
Yeah, you can go into the whole story. I'm loving the affirmation thing already because so yes.
okay, yeah, well, so I was trying to write a kid's book, but then honestly, this was a huge divine movement. So like I put my own kids to bed, and I'd stay up till like 3, 4 in the morning some nights, not even tired. Like this energy was, I don't know where this energy was coming from, but I was just like, no, it's happening, it's here, so let me use it. And I would write an affirmation out, and I'm a fan of Photoshop, so I would just use images that I would find inspiring, and then recreate them to kind of feel like that what I would feel when I would say the affirmation. And it became a visual thing as well as a writing thing. And I use affirmations in my sessions and in my healings and everything. And I know that they help because I'm on this journey with you too. I do everything I tell people to do. So I was, I take my own medicine. So that's how the book came to be. So I still never wrote a children's book, but I got the affirmation book, and it really just became a tool that I wanted to share with my clients, because I would just write for them or get them to write in our sessions. Okay, practice these things, and let's talk in a couple days, see how you feel, or let's talk next week, see how you feel. And I'm like, this is amazing. Now I know why I'm writing this book. It's so I can share it with my clients, and then I share it with them, like, and let me tell other people about it and share the word.
Hmm. Oh, I love it. I love it. I want to give it to all my clients in their little care package. It's really cool. It's really fun to write in. And now I'm actually really glad I asked because I was curious about all the pictures in there too. And now I know that you just created all of that. Oh,
Yeah. It's a
very cool.
soul, that was soul work. That was like healing for me to make it. And then working on the pages, or especially the images, it was, they're programmed a little bit with my intention for people. So I hope it vibrates out. You can feel that love.
I definitely can.
Yeah.
100%. Oh my gosh, I need to, okay. Oh, yeah, I'm interviewing. Hello. Um, thank you for sharing that. Um, and so, okay, I have a question about your intuitive nature.
Mm.
What was the coming up? Because I've been like I said, looking at your content for a long time. You do crystal grids, you do ceremonies, you do all of these things, and it all looks so beautiful with the mapacho and everything you use. Um, can you tell me a little bit about your spiritual journey, how this all kind of came to be?
Sure. Um, I actually get asked. I've been asked this quite a bit lately, or sometimes it's phrased, "When did you wake up?"
Yeah.
And and my answer is pretty simple. Like, I was always awake. Like, I was born this way. And so I never had those like kapow lights turning on explosions because they were always on. And even as a kid, I don't know, I would really just connect strongly with nature and sit outside, be bare feet, put my feet in the dirt, get my hands in the dirt, clean the garden. Um, so it was always with me. And my intuition was always there, even as a kid, or especially being teenagers, when my friends, because we were kind of wild. We had the wild side. We were the bad kids, I guess you'd call us. But I always knew, like, no, no, that's it. Can't do that. Can't go that far. Like, there was always this thing in me that was my radar. Whereas this, and I would listen to it. And then if I didn't, I'd be like, oh, damn, that's why I had that feeling. That's why I felt that way. Yeah. So it was always like, if I didn't listen to my intuition, then I would quickly find out why I was guided to do that in the first place. So now that I'm being more out there with it and just being like, yep, it's intuition. This is my work, because this is what I do full time. This is my living. It's my life as well. And with me being more present and just showing up as it comes, I'm getting more of it. And there's just, it's infinite, like you reach one layer and then there's another, and then it just keeps going. Yeah.
The excitement of the journey sometimes, I think, is that it is infinite, and there's also you can like rest assured, sort of like, in that you're on the right path and that you do have it, but there's always like another layer to pull back, and there's always something else to get into. So that's been like my excitement with the spiritual kind of journey and path, and just kind of navigating your way through it. It being like kind of a lifelong thing has been actually really exciting for me. So looking at like, okay, so we have the full moon coming up in 4 days. When this gets released, it's actually like the day of or night of the full moon. So I see that you do full moon ceremonies and new moon ceremonies. Can we talk about the two ceremonies? And I think there are differences, if I'm
Mhm.
not mistaken. Okay, like what you kind of do and set or do whatever. So can we talk about full moon ceremonies and also um, the energies around?
Sure. Yeah. So in general, when it's a full moon, it's usually your time to release something. So all this energy is now enlarged and it's here, and it's your time to release as the moon gets smaller. Or it comes to full, and it's when something you've been trying to manifest actually takes its place. So um, you can also be in a state of honoring when it's the full moon as well, like honoring how far you've come, how far you've grown, everything you've already manifested, and also release. So they kind of go hand in hand. And with this full moon coming up, May the 7th, the feelings and energies that I'm picking up is a lot of self-reflection. The self-reflection is big this month, or really big this week. And are you feeling it? The
Yes.
self-reflection, yeah. That's good. So lots of self-reflection, and this is kind of the state that we're in, and it really coincides with what's happening around the world, because now been in this pandemic isolation stage for a while. And if you haven't started self-reflecting earlier on, you're going to start feeling it now. And you're going to ask yourself, like, who am I really? What am I doing here? What do I even want to do? So you might notice like a reoccurring thought of these questions, or, what am I doing with my life? What can I do that makes me happy? Because you realize, like, being in this I'm having a hard time with that word, self-isolation state, that life can be really pleasant, really simple. And there's a lot of things we don't need. And it's a really beautiful thing to wake up to, for a lot of people to know you can survive with a lot less than what you currently have. And not saying like, yeah, that's great, everyone, get rid of everything you own, but just know that how you live is not what you own. It's like, how are you feeling inside? What are you doing that lights you up? So this full moon will be a lot about that. And then with that self-reflection, it's time to really purge and release these things that we have held on to, especially being, when you're young and maybe being brought up a certain way, being forced or feeling forced to do things you never wanted to do or be. If it's really not lighting you up, why are you still doing it? Like, we have to face up with our own truths. And that's a hard thing to do, because it's like, you don't know what's on the other side of it. You just have to trust that it's going to work out.
Yes, trust. That's a big thing lately that I've been that word has been circulating a lot, trust. And the process, building a podcast, building a business, coaching, all that stuff, just trust that, like, the energy that you're putting is coming back to you.
Right.
So self-reflection, that's huge. And like, so if I'm understanding correctly, like, basically self-reflecting on the things that maybe are serving you and the things that are not serving you, and the things that are not serving you, that are not lighting you up, it's time to kind of like let them go and let them.
Yeah.
What's a way that you would let them go? Do you like a burning ceremony? If you burn a piece of paper, like, write it, or is it kind of just a meditation where you just like consciously let it go?
There's so many things to do. And this is where you, the individual, have to really just like play around and make it playful. Like, I'm all about making things simple and being fun and playful, because when things are fun and when things are simple, and that means it doesn't take maybe a lot of time to do it, then you can do it more often and it doesn't feel like this big drag or this big chore. So writing things down and burning them is a wonderful way, but you do have to be repetitive with it, especially if it's something you've been carrying for your whole life. It's not going to like disappear in the blink of an eye. I mean, unless your intention is super strong and you're super willed and focused. But, majority of the time, it's something that needs your repetition and to release it. So burning ceremonies, writing to release, meditating, using some quantum science techniques, like touching certain energy centers of the body and repeating certain things. All these things help. There's even tapping. But I do one, it was taught by, what's her name? Sandra. She's a quantum scientist and she's written some books, but it's a technique using your hands and your forehead to really connect with your third eye. So when you want to release something, you kind of press apart your forehead. And you just breathe and just say, if you're feeling really fearful or lots of anxiety, you could say, I release all this anxiety that holds me back. And just imagine it coming out. Imagine the energy coming out of the left side of your body. So it's disappearing, right? So it's like you're really connecting immediately with your hands on your forehead to your third eye and to your brain. And then you want to release something and then you want to program it. So what would you want to call in? The opposite of anxiety is maybe you feel I want to pick a fun word, joy.
Yeah.
Joy. So then I'd use my right hand and the first two fingers, and I would just press really gently in the center of my forehead. And then you use the word I code joy in my life.
Mm.
I code joy.
I go joy.
Breathe that in and then let it go. So there's so many techniques, and sometimes it's a combination of doing your writing, doing burning, saging, smudging, meditating, doing some techniques like that, getting energy work done. Because we hold a lot of beliefs in energy centers in our body too. So sometimes just that energy is kind of trapped if it's not moved. So even dancing, is good. Anything that moves energy.
Okay. So like yoga, I'm actually teaching a class on Thursday morning, so I'm excited to move everybody's energy. Help.
Beautiful. Yes, your class is amazing. I have to attend.
Oh, thank you. Yes, that would be so fun. I'm still kind of a new teacher, but I'm really a new teacher. I don't want to say kind of. Probably like under 20 classes, but I feel so excited about it. So I'm really excited to be the student and the teacher in this literally in the same breath. And it's been really fun to learn and to do everything.
I love that. That's good.
Thank
That's
you.
good.
So I noticed left does left rid you of things and right brings things in? Is there a difference between the right and left sides of your body?
The left side of the body is more female, our female side, and the right side is our masculine side. But it all depends on your technique, especially with when you get into quantum techniques and science and stuff like that. Because when we're releasing, she shows you, she tells you to imagine it leaving out of the left side of your body. But when, like in some shamanic practices, or even when I do Reiki, a lot of your intake comes in through the left side and kind of out through your right. So there is not a similarity in some of the techniques that I know. So then I would say you have to use your intuition to do what feels right for you always. That's the main thing.
Mm. I can't wait. I'm gonna do the full moon ceremony. I'm gonna write, I'm gonna burn, and I'm gonna do this thing. I've been wanting to develop some full moon ceremonies, something that I could keep doing over and over, that I could kind of make mine and package into each little month, and then to do. So okay, so full moon ceremony, that's kind of like letting go, like self-reflection. This one particularly, self-reflection, letting go. So new moon.
Yeah, new moon is a beautiful time to plant seeds, plant your garden. So it's all about intentions. So I love new moons because it's like an exciting time. It's dark, so it's like planting the seeds, and they're dark, they're in pitch black, they're under the ground, and that's where magic happens. So letting those roots grow deep, and they grow deep before they can bloom by the time the full moon comes. Or sometimes it takes a few moon cycles for intentions to really manifest or reach. But just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not happening, right? Like you don't dig the hole or be like, are the roots growing yet? Can I see? You have to have that. There's the word again, trust that things are happening. And sometimes it does take a while for things to swing back your way. But we can't give up. So new moon is that fresh life that that's being given. You got a new start, new moon, and you plant some intentions, sow some seeds.
I'm all about that kind of stuff. And then I found out that so I'm a Cancer, so my ruling planet is the moon. So when I found that out, everything made sense, because I had this fascination with the moon. Like I would just stare at it and just be like mesmerized and try to figure out the craters and like what shape is this? So I've been really into the moon lately, and so I'm glad that we talked about that.
Yeah, it's nice to wake up to it. And since you're a big fan of the moon, I don't know what the weather will be like. It's over here, it's kind of touch and go, rain, not rain, sunny. You could probably see through the shadows on my face. It's super bright, then it's dark. But with the moon, if you ever wanted to charge your water, or your crystals, stick them out in the moonlight when the moon's full. Fill up like a mason jar or a nice glass jug of water, you know, cover the top and let it soak outside. So the moon actually charges the water. And then you could, you know, sprinkle a little bit and all your little things that you do, a little bit with cooking, a little bit in everyone's water bottle, and you get some full moon vibes.
So excited.
You can do lots of stuff.
I am very excited. I'm going to be
Mhm.
watering everybody's stuff. Here's some for you. Here's some for you. You're welcome.
Plants, put some in the bath. Yeah.
I'm so excited. Okay, now we talked about crystals. So you put your crystals out under the full moon to charge them.
Mhm.
And I see that you make crystal grids. Now, I don't know a ton. I like crystals and I love them everywhere, but I don't know very much about grids or actually what to do with them. So,
Well, this is cool. I actually just last weekend, I taught the first time ever I decided to teach what I do privately. So I have a lot of things that I do like just on my own. And one of them was using sacred geometry and crystals, you know, because a lot of people see them and maybe just intuitively are drawn towards them. So I have one kind of set up there that I put out Friday. It's pretty hard to see, but so sacred geometry is usually your base for a crystal grid, or not. You can just use crystals, but the way I am using them is using sacred geometry. And sacred geometry is the language of the universe.
oh,
Doesn't that just feel so good?
yes. I can't even take it.
Oh, I'm feeling it too. Yeah, it's the language of the universe. So, you know, we speak English. There's so many languages out there, but sacred geometry is a universal language. So by you using sacred geometry, you're calling in a frequency and you're showing the universe, I'm here. I want to communicate with you. So let's talk. Let's do this dance kind of thing. So different symbols mean different things. Obviously your crystals, oh my God, crystals is like such a huge topic. Where do we start? But there's like, you know, crystals, always choose what resonates with you because sometimes they call you, you know, and crystals are huge energy amplifiers. Sometimes you feel it, sometimes you don't. That's okay. It's kind of goes back to the new moon thing and planting seeds. Just because you don't see it or feel it, it doesn't mean it's not working. We just need to be patient. So I like to kind of choose the crystals based on what my intention is for making a grid. So I make grids sometimes when I work on people, if I'm working with them remotely or doing, I don't know if you've seen on Instagram, sometimes I just do like free mass healings. So I usually make a grid and I keep it open for like the whole weekend. So I check in on it kind of throughout the days. And I just use my Reiki symbols and meditate with it and on it and send love out using the language of the universe to reach these people. So it's bigger than me.
That's beautiful. So what is sacred geometry? What would a symbol be for people who maybe don't know?
Okay, so flower of life
Yeah.
is a very popular one. Actually, I have a chart.
Okay. Yes.
So here we go. Here's the flower. Okay, let's see if, yes, there we go. Here's the flower of life. Am I showing the camera okay?
Yep, perfect.
So all these little things are like the flower petals. But they originated from the seed of life, which is a little more simplified.
Yeah.
Yeah, these two are very popular or more like well recognized.
Yeah.
So they're really good to work with. So flower of life, seed of life, this symbol, the seed of life is a part of the flower of life. it's all like the circles that keep overlapping that create this little petal, and they all represent the interconnection of every single possibility of life. It's very big,
It's very
right?
big.
We're all our own ecosystem within the larger ecosystem, right? Like you're your own person, your partner is, your family is, and it just keeps growing, and it's really mimicking these sacred geometry symbols where we're all just a piece in this symbol, but we're all part of the same whole. We all have the same foundation.
Mm.
It's pretty deep.
I love it. I love talking about that kind of stuff. I could just do it all day. So
But it's simple, you know,
it
like
is.
it is like life is simple, but we've made it complicated, and now it's like let's screw complication. Let's bring it back. Let's make it simple.
Yeah, to the simplicity. So what would like some simple things be, like spending time with your family, going outside, looking at a flower,
Yeah.
riding a bike?
Doing what just brings you joy, you know, if you like to make music, you like to dance. I feel like people don't have hobbies or interests because they've been so consumed with, oh, I gotta work, I need this bigger house, I need these fancy clothes, or I need a boob job, or whatever you're working towards. Like, just remember what makes you feel alive and focus on that for a little bit, and try to not make these other things so much more important than you, because you know you're important and you need to be here and enjoy your life.
Yes, I always tell my clients, like we had the conversation the other day about like what is my core being? And I was like, well, the core is unconditional love. It's
Mhm.
actually like, so like we just muck it up with all of this stuff, you know, all of the conditions and the even like the bad affirmations and the I'm not good enough, and we pile it on top of our core being, which is really just unconditional love, abundance, light, all of the amazing things. And so it's like there's even like a process of just like letting go of all of these things that we think we need and that we think we are, but we're actually none of that.
Right. It's true.
Yeah. And I always think about the macrocosm and the microcosm. So, like the macro, that's also unconditional love and abundance and things like that. So, like what's out there is also within here.
Beautiful. Yeah, that's a nice way to look at it.
Oh, thank you.
It's a reflection, you know.
Yes, yes.
The
That's,
point.
yeah.
Well, those are
Um,
things.
Thank you. So for your crystal grid, so it's good. It's like to, and I guess what is the purpose? So you pick certain ones depending on what intention you want to set, and is it sort of like an amplification of the energy that you want to send out or work with for certain people?
Right. So actually, I'll use this one as an example, since it's I can't, I actually am using a desktop, so that's why I have it on my laptop, or else I would just show you. But it's a flower of life, and my intention for this was pretty huge.
Mm,
So that's why I'm like, I don't always use crystals. Like sometimes I do a lot of work mentally. My mind is pretty open, so I usually, you know, travel. But this is a big intention, and the big intention for this grid is to raise the planet's vibration to unconditional love. So that's what I've been focusing on for the past 3 days. So um, I needed to call in a support for that, because that's a big one. And you know, um, I just use the symbols that resonate with me, called in the crystals that wanted to be used. Because honestly, when I see crystals, it's like I hear them calling me. Like not everyone wants to be used at the same time. So, you know, it's just becoming aware and paying attention to these super, super subtle like ranges in energy, and knowing, like, just trust that you
mm,
don't disregard those subtle feelings, because yeah, they're trying to talk to you. So I made my crystal grid to raise the planet's vibration to unconditional love. And the ladies that I taught this workshop to last weekend, I asked them to also make a crystal grid with me. So that was kind of the nice thing about teaching this workshop, was actually having our own little tribe where we can all make little grids with the same intention at the same time. So all this energy is being amplified and multiplied.
Oh, and what a nice intention. Like, oh, the best thing to send out ever. Like calling my whole tribe to wake up the planet to unconditional love. Like, oh. And
That's what I do.
thank you for doing what you do. I feel like I've been feeling it the last couple days, to be honest with you.
Thank you. That's a lot. I mean, that's what matters to me. Like that's what I mean. Like, I'm a really simple person. Like, what are you doing today? I don't know. I'm gonna make a crystal grid and focus on raising the vibration of the planet. So yeah.
Oh, that's so beautiful. So for people that are maybe looking for unconditional love in their life, maybe it's hard for them to understand what unconditional love is or how to tap into that. I look at my dogs. That's an easy way for me to tap into unconditional love and like be more like my dog, and going out into nature. So for people at home who are maybe struggling with this a little bit, how could they? Yeah.
You gotta start with yourself.
Um,
And that's the hard one. So instead of, I mean, if you have an animal, of course that's a wonderful place to start. If you really like flowers, or buy a bouquet of flowers and start really looking at them close up, and kind of take the saying, stop and smell the roses, like really hold that into your being and really stop and look and gaze at the shapes and the flowers, because you just start to become aware of all these little tiny things that nature is capable of creating. And that's like if you don't want to work on yourself. But if you're feeling ready, like to work on yourself and call in love, I would start with a very simple affirmation. I accept myself. Maybe not use the word love yet if you're really struggling. I accept myself. And I would start writing it down first. And then when that starts to feel easy, because even just accepting yourself could be challenging. But I would say you have to work through that discomfort. And it's like any kind of birth, it's not going to come easy, right? Like, you're not birthing a child, but you are creating something new, and that could be tough and it could hurt and feel uncomfortable. So, but you can't stop labor halfway through and say, no, I can't, this baby's not coming. Like, you got to push through the pain and just do it. And that's a lot like affirmations. And then when writing it gets comfortable, you can say it out loud. And if you're feeling really brave, you get a box of Kleenex and you walk to your closest mirror and you say it out loud while you look at yourself. Look in your eyes and like feel the things that feel scary, feel the things that feel uncomfortable, and just try to understand yourself a bit better. I mean, it's hard work. Like, understanding yourself is not an easy task. It sounds very simple to love and accept yourself, but when a lot of us grow up in broken homes, or just weird, or learning from parents that are broken themselves, so when you're taking that on to heal yourself, learning how to love and accept yourself, just know that you're healing your past. Like, you're healing your parents, you're healing the grandparents, and then you're creating something so beautiful for the future generations. In especially in shamanism, we always say something when we do healing: for all my relations. And for all my relations stands for 7 generations behind you and 7 generations to come ahead of you. And I love that, because I feel it with my own clients, like their healing is my healing. And I talk to them all, like I talk to a lot of my clients as friends. Sometimes they text me and, we just say, how's it going? And, when it's so satisfying and rewarding when I see them make a huge shift or a turn, and I say to them, your healing is my healing. Like we're all in this together. We're all just a flower blossom, or we're all just the shape in this big, giant puzzle of life. Yeah. So work through the uncomfortableness, but start accepting yourself, and then start learning how to love yourself. Just put a different spin on it.
That is so good. That's so healing, even just listening to you say it. So, question about maybe people who are feeling like regretful about their past, like they made some decisions and it's not feeling really good. Would acceptance kind of be the first part in that? Acceptance, forgiveness kind of thing? Because I asked that question because I have a couple clients who I did an abundance project meditation. I mean, not an abundance, a Deepak Chopra meditation challenge. And I invited some people in it, and I think they thought it was going to be, a meditation challenge. It was 21 days of butterflies and rainbows, and it totally wasn't. It was like, who are the people that made you feel uncomfortable in your life? Write a forgiveness letter. So what are some of the things that your mom regrets about her, whatever. So it brought up some really big things for my clients, and I think a lot of them are feeling a little bit regretful about where they were.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say would be a good way to start getting yourself out of it? And is it the self-love track?
Well, acceptance comes a lot into
Yeah.
play with that one, because
Okay.
you just have to become okay with what happened. And it doesn't mean you have to forget what happened, especially when something is that powerful where it makes that impact. It's hard to forget, but you can not let it control you by just accepting what is, and knowing that when you made certain decisions, you aren't the same person as you are right now in this moment. We all are functioning at the frequency we're in. So just because you might be more enlightened or more awake now, that doesn't serve you well to start judging your past, because then you're going back into that energy that created those situations you weren't happy with in the first place. But accepting it and knowing that right now in this moment, you have the choice to choose differently. In the present moment is always where your power is.
Yes, it is. I'm actually in the process of reading The Power of Now.
Oh, okay.
So I'm really excited. It's hard for me to read. It's kind of hard for me to sit still. So I know that's where my practice is, but it's kind of hard for me to sit and actually read. I have to be like listening, washing dishes, doing all these things. But thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate that. And I think other than my clients, I think that's going to help a lot of people, because I know, and maybe this would be a perfect thing to like bring up and let go and accept at the full moon. If you have some things that are coming up when I say the word regret, maybe kind of bring that up, write it down, let it go, left side, bye.
Yeah, that would be a beautiful thing to focus on around the full moon. What are you thinking about that's holding you back or making you feel regret? Because regret's a really low vibration.
Yes.
So we don't want to carry regret with us. It's definitely like, just leave it there. Fine, I have to accept it and own up to it because I did it. Am I pleased with it? No. But can I act differently now? Yes. There's always a choice.
Yes, Maya Angelou, once you know better, you do better.
Yeah.
I was like, yes, queen. So I have a couple questions about Reiki.
Okay.
And I'm sure a lot of other people do too. Could you start by just explaining, like, what is it?
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
So the real term that puts people in a spin is Reiki is universal life force energy. You're like, okay, so what do I do with that?
Okay.
Yeah. So Reiki is the way I like to explain it is, think of your Reiki practitioner as a psychic medium, and you know that a psychic medium is channeling messages from spirit, and Reiki is channeling energy from the universe. And we channel energy and we share this energy outwards. So when you do Reiki training, you do get attuned to higher frequencies, and this frequency holds energy. And we learn how to, call it in towards us. So that's how I kind of stumbled with my words, but that's how I would explain it, just to make it simple. Everyone is okay with the psychic channeling messages from the divine. So Reiki, Usui Reiki, is me channeling energy. And so the energy you receive isn't mine. I channel this energy in and I filter it out. But you're not taking on my energy, and I'm not actually taking yours on. It's really just me being a radio station or a channel to pull in this higher energy and bring it to other people.
And it's used to balance out those energy points that you were talking about earlier, the different energy centers in the body.
Yeah, so we have meridian lines throughout our whole body. We have our chakra system, and we all know that there's 7 main ones, but there's so many more. Soles of your feet, fingertips, palms of your hands, ears, all, things that are higher than us and underground. So our energy centers are huge. Our aura is huge. And yeah, so this Reiki energy, when I call it in, we help people, or I like to help people call their energy back to them. Because a lot of the times, especially in the world we were living to prior to this, we're all very scattered and have 1,000 things going on, and there's bits of us everywhere. And that's when we start to feel scattered, ungrounded, maybe headachy, or like can't focus, and maybe even ADD. Like, that's when we need to pause and really get the help we need, so you can use a Reiki practitioner, or even just yourself, and try and envision all of the parts of you. Call them back towards yourself, and then yes, the Reiki will balance out the rest. So Reiki can do no harm, because it's just a higher frequency. So some people have asked me, is it scary? I'm on medication, does it interfere with that? And my answer is, Reiki can do no harm. So whether you're on medication, whether you're a child or an elderly person, whether you have a disease or you're healthy, like it's energy that is in a higher frequency than what we're currently in. So when it comes in, it does try to help balance our energies, our physical body, our mental body. It really helps the whole person. So it's not just a physical thing, it's not just an emotional thing, but it's all of us. It's like your whole self being worked on.
I want a session from you.
I love that.
Can you do a distance? Like,
Yes.
can we?
Yeah, I
Okay.
do them in person, like live on Zoom. So I work with you as if you were like right here in my space, because this is my Reiki room. This is where I meet with my clients. Or I do them remotely, where like if you weren't comfortable being viewed or whatever, then I just say, okay, I'm going to send it at 9:00 tonight. You can be totally relaxed, or you can be wide awake, going shopping or whatever. Like, so the Reiki can be sent to a person as long as we have their permission.
Mm-hmm.
And if the person isn't able to give permission, I connect with them on a soul level. And again, I use my intuition and I hear their answer.
This stuff just lights me up. I can't even, I'm barely sitting in my chair right now. I'm so excited. And so, and you also say that you,
Feel it.
can you see it? I'm like, I want to jump through this.
It's so beautiful. I'm so happy you're excited about it, just as much as I am. So it's great.
I am. Yes, there's a lot of happening. So now when you're a teacher, so can anybody channel this?
Yes.
Okay.
Anyone can learn. Ooh, you want to learn? I just got the goosebumps.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So you can learn. And the first level of Reiki is really all about you. So it's not a practitioner level. You're not, being like, hey, I'm going to charge you $60 for a Reiki session. No, Reiki, your first level of Reiki is really learning how because it becomes individual, how you're going to sense and feel and hear all these little energies when you do start working on someone. But your first level becomes a huge like wake up session within yourself. So I guess I had a somewhat of a further awakening when I did my Reiki level 1. It was a very intense like almost physical purging for me. And yeah, that was really cool my level 1 was a very big transformation.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how many levels are there?
There's only 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you go on to the next one after you're kind of
Yeah.
like graduated from the first one.
Right. So there,
Okay.
there's a little thing that I don't really, I'm not like the other Reiki masters or teachers that are out there, because I've seen some people teaching level 1 and 2 in a weekend, in the same weekend. And there are Udemy courses and things like that that you can take. But, this is a Japanese technique. And if we learned, from one of the masters who brought this gift to us, many of us wouldn't even be at a master level, but here in the Western world, like, as long as you pay for it, you can have it, kind of thing. But I like to teach it more with a little more integrity than that, where there is no rush. Like, and if you feel like you just want the title of a Reiki master, then you're not really holding that integrity that's needed to be one. Yeah. So it takes time. There really is no rush, and it is a simple practice, but requires your dedication. In level 1, there's a lot of techniques and meditations that you do to help your own energy. And this is what really helps your intuition and whatever your natural innate abilities are, they really start to come alive. So if they're just little quiet voices, your level 1, when you do these techniques and you commit to it, like, you really start to come alive in a different way. And this is what makes you ready to work with people. So it's like you got to work on yourself before you establish a fee and take on the clients.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm excited. Thank you
Mm-hmm.
for sharing all of that with me and with everybody else, because I think, it's kind of like during this corona, or maybe even before this, but I feel like there is sort of this like maybe like mass awakening kind of happening. Like, I think that people are starting to wake up to like the subtle energies that are happening here, and maybe coronavirus kind of like made everybody scared and like maybe searching for the spiritual realm a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so do you kind of feel that like there's like kind of people's energy are shifting everywhere?
Yeah, I feel it. I feel it a lot. And some days, especially like being empathetic and just being really open, some days I have to just kind of close off a little bit, because it's a lot to feel all the time. And there's a lot of people that are really confused by all this, because their life is being questioned and they're questioning it, and that's scary for them. because
Yes.
everything you thought was real and true is now a question mark. And you're the only person who can decide what you actually want to choose to believe, because it's always comes down to your choice. So there is a big global shift and awakening, with energy. Our universe, our guides, they're all here. The veil is super thin to non-existence. If you might be hearing your spirit guides or seeing little orbs flashing around or whatever. Like the veil right now between us and spirit is like non-existent, or like very micro thin and super tiny. So it's a beautiful thing, and it's not here to scare us, but it's here to make us aware that we've only been living as half of ourselves. We've only given credit to this human self and this human physical body. But when you close your eyes and you breathe, there's like a whole nother world that's going on. And now is the time to tap into this other world, because we even have a thing called a spiritual immune system, and we want to make that strong. And this is the thing that will kind of help us, or even like it feels like it'll save us in a way. Like you got to kind of merge the two. If we're going to stay here on this earth, we got to merge the two.
Hmm.
Because being just human is getting really heavy and dense, and that energy is stifling and limiting. We got to open up to the other side of us that we can't see, but we have to trust that is
Trust.
there.
Oh, awesome. Thank
Yeah.
you. And um, I just have one question left. Well, I have a couple more, but we could probably talk for hours because I'm
I
so
know.
just.
It's too fun. It's so fun.
It's so fun. I love all of this stuff so much. Okay, I saw one of your posts and it said something about numbers. And that was probably one of my first. So bodybuilding was kind of my connection to spirit, but it happened through the numbers. And I remember I would look at the clock and it kept saying 111. And then I would like go driving and I would see cars 222, like license plates. Like it was just everywhere, and it still is. And it's amazing. Probably my most favorite thing in the world. Like if I do something on 11/11, I got married on 11/11. It was just, that was probably my first awareness, I guess, to like, okay, there's something else going on here.
Mhm.
And the numbers, that was something that I used to have in my YouTube videos all the time. Like I even got checked into room 555 at one of my competitions. And that was like when I first started to get it, and I almost fell over. So um, can, can we talk just a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's really it's really amazing that you're saying this, because I just spoke with my sister before this, and she's like, I keep seeing 111 or 1111. What does this mean? Yeah, that's great. So what is it that you're actually asking me?
Oh, yeah, I guess. I kind of just want to, I guess, what does it mean? So to me, I looked at it as a nod from the universe. Like, yes, you're in the right direction. Yes, because I would never see it when I was out of alignment. For me, it was like my yes, you're in alignment, because I wouldn't see it when I was fighting with my husband or when I was doing something I wasn't supposed to. It was always when I was in alignment.
Mhm.
And so I took that as like a sign from the universe saying, yes, ma'am.
Nice. That's how to put it. Yeah.
How do you see it?
I see it like a lot like sacred geometry, how it's the language of the universe. And exactly what you said, when you're awake enough or aware enough or in alignment with what's really good for you, you start to see the number patterns. And it's almost like your silent cheerleader, like, yeah, you're doing it, keep going, here's a 222 for you, here's a 111. They're just like, yes, applauding you in a way that's not physical, and just giving you that little boost of encouragement to be like, I see you, I'm here, you know you're just as real as I am. So it's kind of like that sign to to cheer you on. And I have an oracle deck actually. It's called Lightworkers by Alana Fairchild, and she has a page in this oracle deck that's called Messages in the Numbers. And I did make a post about it, and I wrote out what each number frequency is. And the frequency of 1 has a lot to do with leadership. So, you know, taking on the leadership role, becoming confident in what you're doing. So when you see like 1 speaking to you, that's a really cool thing about leadership. 2s are a lot around partnerships, whether it's like personal partners or like even business professional partnerships. Like is saying the 2s usually have a frequency of partnerships being a good thing. So like, you know, working together is good for both parties. And then it just goes on up to number 9. I cannot go through them all because I don't, you know, that's Alana Fairchild's work, and I don't actually remember all of her meanings, but she says it really simply, really nicely. Like each number is just a couple sentences, and you're like, yeah, that, you know, it either feels good for you or it doesn't. So I always say just take what feels good and leave the rest. That's all you can do.
Yes. I'm so glad it's like a silent cheerleader to you, because that's exactly how I have always felt. And now it's just, and sometimes I'll be driving and it's like I can almost get all the numbers 1 through 9. And that's like a crazy thing. I'm like, oh my God, all I need is 7. So it's like I'll be driving back home and be like, we can't go home yet until, or it'll be 4:44 on the clock. And I'm like, okay, we can go home now.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
fun.
that
I
is
love
so
seeing all
cool.
the numbers. Yeah, I see them a lot. And are you seeing them a lot now, especially?
Yeah, for a while I wasn't. I was in this really weird in between period of my life where I was leaving bodybuilding and I didn't know who I was. I switched to everything I was eating. I got married, my last name was changed, and I retired from something that I was working for 10 years. And I was just out of alignment, out of my identity, didn't know who I was. And now over the last year, I would say I'm starting to come into this new um, identity, and I'm feeling it again. Like it's been a little bit, but the last maybe 6 months or so, it's back.
I love it. It's
Back.
so, you're glowing. It's beautiful. You're
Thank you.
doing well. Doing well. That's good.
Thank you,
So
Sabrina.
nice to see. Yeah, no, this is beautiful. And yeah, those number sequences are your cheerleaders. They got your back.
Yes. Oh, yes. I've always felt that. And I'm so happy to hear it's like confirmed. Amazing.
Oh,
So, mhm. Oh,
no.
well, I was gonna see, I'm looking and see if there's any other like quick questions I have. I feel like we pretty much got to all of them for now. I mean, now after we've talked, I'm like, I have a whole nother podcast in my head for us. Um, but where can people find you for your like to be like even coached by you, or yoga, meditation, anything of it?
So I'm really easy to find. My website is just sabrinasavoy.com. My Instagram, I have Facebook too, but I barely use it. It's just there. Um, so Instagram is with love, Sabrina Savoy. Yeah, so that's where to find me. And right now, with all this hiatus on things, I'm not teaching yoga classes. But it's amazing as yoga teachers like yourself are doing beautiful classes, and there's so many ways to tune in. So I'm just really focusing on energy work right now and doing meditations. So if you search Sabrina Savoy, I have 3 up on Insight Timer as well, which is cool. And I have more to make. So more will come. And yeah, that's how you find me. And yeah, we can work remotely on a session or do it live on Zoom. And yeah, you can find my book on Amazon. And
That's great.
Mhm.
Okay, and I'll put all of those links in the description of the video. So if people are watching this on YouTube, or if you're listening to this on another platform, go to YouTube. I'm going to have all your links in the description, so it'll be really easy for people to find your website and your meditations and your Instagram and stuff like that.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Sabrina, this has been amazing. I'm lit up right now, and I just want to thank you for your energy and sending your good crystal grid vibes out into the universe. And thank you for what you're doing, because it's amazing and it's super inspiring.
Oh, thank you. I feel that, sister. Thank you
Good.
so much. Thank you for having me here. And yeah, thank you for sharing your light too. We need it. We all need to share our light.
Yes, we do. Okay, well, thank you. And everybody, thank you so much for tuning into the light side today. Peace and love and namaste. Unconditional love. Find it all. Yes. Peace.